Text-to-speech apps are a popular means for people to listen to written, digital content. TTS apps afford users eyes-free consumption of text when they're situationally impaired. In other words, their visual attention is occupied while commuting or walking, or they simply have tired eyes. However, listening to audio is linear and slow. This is a potential barrier for these apps to support reading structured and difficult types of documents, like professional reports or academic papers. This is because reading such documents often involves a non-linear, rapid form of reading. At the heart of such reading is skim reading. In visual skimming, readers quickly grasp the gist and organization of documents by glancing over, jumping around, and flipping through texts. Now this begs the question as to whether structured documents could be effectively skimmed auditorily. As this first step towards answering this question, we ran a qualitative need-finding study based off a representative TTS app. The results suggested eyes-reduced skimming as a viable approach to this design problem. Eyes-reduced means a person would predominantly listen to the content, but with the ability to glance at the content for elements that are inherently visual, like images. Based on a thematic analysis of the observational and interview data, we developed a set of design guidelines for eyes-reduced skimming apps. Based on these design guidelines, we designed Skimmer, a novel read-out-loud app geared towards supporting eyes-reduced skim reading and situational impairments. Skimmer supports eyes-reduced skim reading by strategically mixing auditory and visual modes of reading, and supporting nonlinear navigation, and offering rich, auditory, and haptic cues. Now let's introduce how a situationally impaired person can skim a difficult document using Skimmer. Skimmer predominantly supports eyes-free skimming. The user can perform sentence-level navigation for skipping unimportant sentences or re-listening to a missed passage with a lightweight eyes-free tap gesture.
Choose between 3 audience types for each of. Lastly, with the default settings, Snapchat.
Skimmer also supports sentence-level navigation using vision by traditional scrolling. When skimming, this can be useful for peeking at how far one is in the text and checking the remaining length of passages.
Of content and audience could.
Notice that Skimmer pauses as soon as the user navigates, because listening to and navigating at the same time induces high cognitive load. Also, paragraph level jumps support more granular navigation in both eyes-free and visual fashions.
To extend the literature. In prior work,
We designed the way Skimmer narrates the written content to help listeners better understand complex and difficult texts. Written text and structural information are narrated in 2 disparate voices.
Their privacy. Section 2. Background and related work.
This helps distinguish meta-information from verbatim content. A long list of items, bullet or numbered items, are read out in groups of 3 or 4 items at a time to help memory retention.
And the last 4 are Kim Kardashian, Catherine Zeta.
Also, Skimmer reads numbers in a rounded format, because complex numbers are hard to understand by just listening.
With p-value less than 0.001 when comparing bias.
Skimmer supports selective jumps between various discourse markers. While reading a document, the user has an option to jump to the next discourse marker. Then it starts narrating back from the beginning of the sentence for the full context. To provide affordance in discourse navigation and distinguish the markers from the content of narration, Skimmer provides a subtle background auditory cue in the form of an ambient earcon. Listen carefully.
Our story may differ from those found. We conducted to extend the literature on Snapchat.
The user can access the entire structure of the document using Skimmer's overview feature. One can swipe to the overview and move around the sections, and then jump to a remote section by swiping back. When a figure or table is referred to in the text, Skimmer gently informs the user with haptic feedback so they can look at the visual content. It facilitates navigating back and forth on demand.
More attributes can be used to caption of figure 1.
The user has the choice to opt in and resume back to the main text, or ignore altogether and continue skimming the main text. Throughout all these features, Skimmer facilitates listening to difficult content by providing a subtle auditory cue in the form of earcons. Skimmer accommodates individual differences by enabling the user to dynamically adjust the speech rate.
Participants primarily stated intrinsic reasons for sharing our story, such as the desire to share an experience.
Our preliminary observation study suggests that participants were able to use Skimmer to skim documents in an eyes-reduced manner while riding the bus. Please check out our paper for the details of our design guidelines, implications for eyes-reduced reading, read-out-loud apps, and text-to-speech engines.